What's going on, guys? It's Greg here. You're watching the Prepping Basics series, and today I'm going to talk about the pistols and why a pistol is considered a basic element of prepping. Um, so this is my 44 Magnum Smith & Wesson revolver. Has no ammo inside. It's empty. The cylinder is empty. Um, this is basically a multifunctional tool for me, and I'll discuss why a pistol is important to have for prepping and why it's a basic element. Now, obviously, you can understand why it would be important because, obviously self-defense. That's what pistols are for. But basically, I'm going to talk about some other aspects as to why a pistol is a basic element of prepping and why other firearms are less important. So first of all, you have to understand, a realistic scenario that you would encounter if you're in a survival situation or, SHTF, without rule of law. Now, obviously, we always like to dream up all these crazy scenarios where Russia's going to invade us and we're going to have to, conduct guerrilla warfare operations and hide in the hills and, launch sabotage attacks, on Russian outposts, just like in Red Dawn or, whatever it may be, grid down situation and there's looters, running around the streets and, we're gonna have to get on our roofs and post watch up, make sure nobody comes into our homes and tries to, steal from us or, harm our family members. These scenarios are obviously always a possibility, but regardless of what the scenario is, you have to understand the realities of what a self-defense situation would look like, whether it's without rule of law or with rule of law. A pistol is like a very foundational element to your preparedness, and it's better to have if you could only have one firearm, it's better to have a pistol rather than an AR-15 or a long gun, shotgun, rifle, whatever. Because the pistol has a lot of different advantages that long guns don't have. And obviously, you also have to look at it from a realistic perspective. So first I'll go into the advantages of a pistol and why I consider it a basic element of prepping. And then I'll go into some of the advantages that a pistol has over long guns and assault rifles and, why you should get a pistol as your first weapon, if it's legal, in your area. And finally, I'll talk about, the reality of self-defense and another reason why pistols are a more realistic self-defense tool than an assault rifle or a long gun, whether it's rule of law or without rule of law. But for the nature of this video, I'm going to focus on without rule of law and SHTF because that's, what we prepare for, obviously. So let's get started. So why is the pistol what advantages does it have over a long gun? Well, obviously pistols were created to be compact, and small. This particular pistol right here, it's easily concealable. I can wear this around my waist. I can throw it in a backpack. I can wear it in a fanny pack. It's lightweight. This only weighs 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds. It has a lot of power because it's a 44 Magnum, but pistols are compact and they're lightweight, which means that they don't take up a lot of space. They don't wear you out, and you can have it with you all the time. And that's something that a long gun has a big disadvantage of. A long gun is that with a long gun, you can't always have it with you. Sometimes you have to set it down. You have to put it on the ground. Sometimes it's heavy and it wears you out if you're carrying it all day. That's an extra 10 pounds that you have to carry. If you're hiking a long distance, that extra 10 pounds, it adds up after a while, and you feel that, plus all the other stuff you're carrying. So a pistol is compact and small, and basically it allows you to carry it without, first you can conceal it very easily, which a long gun you can't conceal. So that's an immediate, could be an advantage in certain cases, to have a long gun as a deterrent. But in SHTF or something like that, having a concealed weapon is better, because you're less likely to, instigate a situation, or telegraph your capabilities. So the fact that a pistol is concealable makes it very advantageous. And then also it allowed for prepping reasons, which I'll discuss more in a bit. You can actually get a concealed carry license and carry a pistol with you to work, or when you're traveling. You may not be able to bring it into your office, but you can keep it in your vehicle, for example. So if something happens, you have quick access to it. You can grab your get home bag and you can go home, and you have a way of defending yourself, versus a long gun. You can't just grab an AR-15 out of your car and start walking down the streets. It's many places you can't do that. Some states you can, like Texas has open carry. I think Virginia and Washington State, they also have open carry. But the fact that a pistol is concealable is a huge advantage, and the fact that it's compact, it's lightweight, and it has a lot of bang for the size that a pistol is. You can do a lot of things with it. You can defend yourself with it. You can hunt with it if you have the right cartridge, and you're at close enough range. You can take down, a deer with a 44 Magnum. You can defend yourself against wild animals, which is you're likely to encounter if you're in a survival or SHTF situation. You may run into stray dogs. You may run into coyotes. You may run into bears, mountain lions, whatever area of the country you live in. There's different wild animals that are dangerous. But the fact that it's small and compact is a huge advantage, and concealability. And then also the fact that you can get a concealed carry permit during rule of law, which will help you if you have to bug out or get home from work or whatever. You can have access to your firearm versus a rifle. Unless you live in an open carry state, it's just not practical. So that's the main advantages of a pistol over a rifle. And that lighter weight and the compact nature of a pistol means that you can carry it with you everywhere you go. So if you're in a SHTF situation, or if there's a power outage, whatever the scenario is, whether it's a total, doomsday scenario, or Russian invasion, or, whatever, looters, grid down, localized disaster, you can take this pistol or any pistol and you can carry it on your waist, and you can wear it all day long everywhere you go. And it's not going to significantly impact it's not going to make you tired. It's not going to affect your mobility. It's going to be there, and you're not even going to know that it's there until you need it, and then it's there when you need it. It doesn't get in the way. A rifle gets in the way. You have to constantly pay attention to where you're putting it. You have to watch out that you don't accidentally pull the trigger. If you're walking through the woods with it or something like that, you have to make sure the barrel stays clean, that there's no obstructions in the barrel. It's just a whole different ball game with a rifle, and carrying one over long distances and difficult terrain than a smaller pistol will. So those are the advantages of a pistol, and why it's good to have one as a prepper. And then, another aspect to why a pistol is a basic tool that you should have as a prepper is is realistic, self-defense scenarios. And basically, like, you can have an assault rifle or, a shotgun, long gun, whatever, but many times it's not realistic. You're not gonna get into a gun battle with somebody at 100 yards or 200 yards away. It's highly unlikely, in my opinion. Even in a full-blown SHTF situation where there's armed marauders and criminals running around the streets. Even in a situation like that, you're not going to want to get into a gunfight with people or with bad guys, because you're not going to have access to medical care. So if you get shot or hurt somehow, you're going to want to avoid any kind of confrontation, whether it's a gunfight, whether it's a physical fight, hand to hand or something. You're going to want to avoid any type of conflicts, because the more you expose yourself to conflicts, the more likely it is that you can get hurt. Your family can get hurt. There's a whole host of things that can happen to you. If people could come back and get vengeance on you. You can advertise where you are. You can, as soon as you pull the trigger, you're broadcasting your location to everybody. Within 5 miles, they can hear that gunshot go off. So these are things that you have to keep in mind, even for a full-blown SHTF scenario. You're going to want to kind of be stealthy and fly under the radar. You don't want to just be getting into gun battles with people, and getting into gunfights with, even if they're criminals. You want to try to avoid that, because you're not going to have 911, you're not going to have a hospital nearby that you can just go to, because everything is going to be, facilities are going to be down for whatever reason. It's just not a situation you want to be in. You can get outnumbered. If you start getting into a gun battle with someone, you can get outnumbered if they have friends with them, or, whatever, partners in crime. So really, a firearm to me is a tool of last resort. It's not, something that you just pull out and use, just because you want to fulfill some kind of fantasy. It's a last resort. And even in a SHTF situation, you want to, like I said, if you think about it from a realistic point of view, you're really not going to be getting into gunfights with people where you need to have an assault rifle. I'm not saying that I'm against assault rifles or stuff. Obviously, they're good to have, but I'm saying that if you could only choose one weapon, I would choose a pistol before an assault rifle. And if you're a prepper, I think that a pistol is much more important to have than an assault rifle, because, like I said, the pistol, it's small, you can carry it everywhere, you can get a CCW license and carry it during rule of law, so it's there when you need it, when crap hits the fan, versus a rifle, you can't do that. And then, like I said, the realistic engagement ranges, you're not going to be getting into gun battles with people 200 yards away, or 100 yards, or even 50 yards, 20, even 25 yards is a pretty long distance for a self-defense scenario, because you have to understand that, reality and movies are two different things. If you're 50 yards away from someone, how are you going to tell a court that, you had to use deadly force on this person, because really it's not up until you get close to someone that based on, what they're doing, that they're actually a threat to you, and you have to, use deadly force to stop them. If somebody's 50 or 100 yards away from you, unless they're shooting at you from that distance, it's, you're not going to really need to like get into a gun battle with them. Most self-defense scenarios, like with police, happen at 20 yards or less. And I believe that in a SHTF situation, or, any type of without rule of law, or, prepping scenario that you think would happen, I think that the realistic range would be, up to 25 yards, because up to 25 yards, you'll be able to understand if if it's a real threat or not, you know, and you can justify in a courtroom after, you know, rule of law returns, because eventually it will, and you know you're going to be held accountable for your actions. So if you're shooting at someone 50 yards away, the court's going to ask you, you know, what were they doing so far at such a far distance that you needed to use your firearm. You know, and obviously if we're talking about total, you know, SHTF, full-blown end of the world, you know, it's still, you're going to want to make sure that when you pull the trigger that it's really necessary, because you don't just want to, you know, discharge your firearm and advertise your location, or you know, you may even you shoot someone unnecessarily. You know, there may be a friendly fire incident, you know, and I think this is a thing that a lot of preppers don't consider when they stock up on ammo and stuff like that, is that there could be a friendly fire incident, you know, or you may just shoot someone who's trespassing on your property, but they may not mean you harm, you know, they may just be passing through, they may be trying to escape from some hazard, just like you are, you know, they may be with their family and they're trying to survive just like you are, and you know, you pull the trigger on someone. If you're shooting 100 yards away, you can't tell if that person is going to be causing you harm or not unless they're actually shooting at you, you know. So that's why a pistol is a more realistic self-defense option and a more realistic self-defense tool than an assault rifle is, especially for prepping. And because it's so compact, you can take it anywhere. It's very versatile. And if you get, especially if you get yourself a revolver like this one, this is a 44 Magnum, but you know, a 44 Magnum or a 357 Magnum, both of those cartridges can take down a bear or a deer. So they make a good multifunctional self-defense and, you know, trail gun, you know, that you can use to defend yourself when you're in the woods, you know, to provide food for yourself and your family if, you know, you need to in a worst case scenario. And so a pistol is just a more realistic option than a long gun. So I hope this video helped you guys out. And I think that if you don't already have a pistol, you should put in your paperwork for, you know, if you need to get a license to own one, you should put in your paperwork as soon as possible, and, you know, consider taking some training courses, you know, sign up for your local shooting club, and just get really comfortable with your pistol. You know, it should become very natural to you and become like a extension of your body, and it's just a very useful tool for a prepper. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care. God bless.